Hey y'all, what's happening? Go ahead and jump in the chat and ask me absolutely anything. I'm just sitting here editing and gonna go through some pictures, do some culling, do some editing. I don't know, whatever strikes me. But I'll be here for the next hour and a half. It's Friday night. I get nothing else to do. I got a little bit of wine. Figured I'd hang out and talk to you all. So let's see. I'm looking all over this. I've got a big monitor, so that's why my head goes back and forth. Folks in here. Hey y'all, what's happening? If wherever you are, if you see this and you want to comment, go ahead and comment. I'm not sure if I'll see your name. I just get Facebook user, so just let me know who you are. If you want to join into the chat, just go wherever you want. Enter your name. I'm trying to do 97 things as I get this thing started, but I'm going to get to your comments in a minute. So you can literally ask me anything. I'm going to be doing some culling of this session that I shot back in January, and it's been a really long time. Hey, hi from Australia. Hey, everybody. I am going to be going through and culling a few photos and then probably jumping into Photoshop, doing some retouching, let you see what I do. Really, nothing other than that. This is super chill. I've got wine in a red Solo cup because I'm bougie like that. Let's see. Okay, so all right. So I'm going to go through and start culling. And the way that I generally cull is I do everything in Lightroom, and I've got a system of stars and flags and whatnot. So generally how I do it is I take a first pass and I go through just gut feel. I'm an overshooter, so I'll shoot 1,000, 1,500 photos in a session, no problem whatsoever. But I also cull really fast. So I'm looking for micro expressions. I'm looking for the things that really strike me. So as I go through, yeah, I might shoot a lot of photos, but it doesn't take me that long to cull. I go through two-handed and I'm just picking and picking and picking and flagging. Generally speaking, whatever I shoot, the sheer number that I shoot, I usually get about 10% of the volume, and that's my first pass. That gets down to, let's say it's 1,000 photos, I get that down to 100. Once they're all flagged, I give them all 1 star. That's my starting point. Now, as I go through, I'll go through and do another pass, and I'll add the ones that I really like. Those will be 2 stars. I'll go through one more pass after that. That'll be 3 stars. And then from there, that will probably get me down to about 30 or 40 photos, maybe, out of that 1,000. And that's really what I'll edit. These are personal shoots. These aren't necessarily client shoots. My workflow is the same, my method's the same, but for me, when I'm doing that, I usually like to shoot and get down to about 30 photos. So with that, I go for variety of posing, variety of stories, and colors and black and white and all sorts of things. I'll do some color grading. But really, I just go through, and this is all personal, so why not just do it how I feel? So I get to that point where it's 3 stars. Then I can get into colors. Then I can get into, making everything yellow if I really like it, and then green when it's finished, and upgrade that to 4 stars. It's my method. It works for me. Explaining it doesn't really make sense because it's just how I work. You may do things completely differently. But once I have all of that stuff culled and I have that set of 30, that's when I start going into Photoshop and editing each one of those. So where I am with this set right now, I shot Amelia here back on January 25th. And so it's been a little bit too long, about 5 months, 4.5 months. And this was just a personal project. So I've had other work ahead of that, and I'll get into this. All right. So Dennis, how are you, sir? Oh God, if there was ever a moment where you had to perform in front of someone, Dennis Dunbar is in the room, probably one of the world's foremost retouchers. So I should fumble around like a monkey humping a doorknob doing this while Dennis watches. So that'll be fun. It's good to have you here, man. It's really, really good to see you. So Nicole, if you ever want to jump in, feel free. Bobby, what's happening? Oh, my favorite. Hey, Nicole, what's happening? Hi.
I'm actually editing as well, so I'm excited to like see your process and figure out what you do.
You have like a whole like super. Oh, I'm doing all sorts of weird things. You have like a super glove on. What is that all about?
Yeah, well, it's because I edit. Oh, hang on, I'll show you. I edit on this guy right here.
Yeah. And
so when I'm using my pencil, if I don't have a glove on, my hand can't slide across the screen and it gets all oily and gross. So
you are so bougie with technology. You have screens you can draw on.
Yeah.
Luddites like me. Luddites, plebes, the poor folk. I just use old Wacom tablets. But you do you. Sister, well, I love what you do.
I'm also doing art on the side, so like I might not have needed it.
Do isn't art. I guess that's what you're saying. What I do is not art.
Shut
okay. I got it. So anyway, we got a bunch of people here. Basam's here. So I'm going to key you in the. How do we do this? How can I do this? I'm trying to change this, and my computer's freaking out. It's like freakishly 85 degrees here in Maine. And so everything in my house, since I don't have air conditioning, is really, really hot. So my computer is struggling at the moment. That's why I tried to go live a few minutes ago and it crashed. So I think I'm finding that this 49-inch monitor that I have, this big 49-inch curved monitor, demands a lot of my GPU. Go figure. And so my laptop, basically it sounds like me trying to run. It's just huffing and puffing and just wheezing, right? So that's generally how I feel. My laptop are kind of one. But all right, I am going to close some stuff down and see if I can't save this thing. But yeah, so what I was doing, Nicole, is just going through and culling a little bit, talking about my culling process. So I've already done a little bit on this. I've already done my first pass of 1 stars and 2 stars. So if I show everybody, I'm going to bring up, I don't know, can we do this? Can I keep you on the screen? I can keep you on the screen while I do my stuff. And then,
yeah.
If you feel like that, you can
see your
over.
goodies. I mean, your art. Your art.
It is Friday night. I'm drinking. You never know what might happen on YouTube.
I have a margarita later.
Yeah, right. No, you already got banned. I can't get us banned again.
Yeah, that was not control myself.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's see what we got. So, and here's the problem is that because the GPU is getting crushed, Lightroom is really, really slow to respond. So I am going to go down here and just pull up my 2 stars. See what I've got here for 2 stars. And then I'm just going to pick one and edit it. See where we go. Just do some skin retouching and whatnot. Show people my method. Cecil is saying I should get a glove like that.
She should.
Oh.
Do it.
GPU. When I paint on my iPad. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. Or you could just, probably what I would do is wrap my hand in paper towels and electrical tape. And not have to necessarily buy something on Amazon, but
no, you get a whole packet of these for like $12 and there's like 4 or 5 of them. So it's not like high speed or anything. I mean, I could bedazzle it if you want me to, and then it would be much more fabulous.
I think if you got it in multicam, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Right? That way no one can see you editing. It's just all camouflage.
Exactly.
Right. So, okay. So let's see. 2 star. I'm telling you, man, this thing is really like, for some reason lately, I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but Lightroom really has become super heavyweight. It's been a really, really oppressive program lately, and it's choking on both my MacBook Pro, which is not an old MacBook Pro, it's a relatively new one. It's not M1, but it is a relatively, like, a 2019 laptop. But it absolutely has been destroying my computers as well. Sisela is saying that the audio sounds super wonky on her end. Does it sound super wonky on your end?
Yeah, you are like cutting in and out, and it's like a weird vibration thing that's happening. I'm not sure what it is. It might be, like, yeah, Lightroom is a freaking beast. I don't know, like, it's the devil. It is so slow. It's so clunky. It shuts everything else down. Like, it seems like nothing can ever function when Lightroom is working.
Weird. Okay, so I'm going to force click that. Sorry about that, everyone. And let me shut down Lightroom. And maybe I'll just hang out and watch you edit.
Well, I mean, I wanted to see you
I do
edit stuff.
So what I may do is pull something up in Photoshop, but if my please keep telling me if the audio is bad.
It's still kind of crazy. Do you want to, since I'm here now, do you want to drop out and come back in real quick, and we'll see if that fixes whatever the audio is? Okay.
I'll do that.
Cool. I will hang out in the meantime and share stuff too, just so you guys can see. Look, it's a boot, so you can see what I'm working on. I just did a post-apocalyptic shoot recently with this fantastic model from Santa Fe. Her name is Tara Wise, and she's absolutely lovely. And these are the kind of sneak peeks for the few that I am going to let everybody see before the rest of the edits happen. I'm actually lucky enough to be working with Dustin Valkema, and he is going to be doing some really cool sci-fi compositing for me with some cool 3D models and stuff, because he's amazing like that. So yeah, I am right now. Her boots were obviously too new to look anything like what they should look in this kind of post-apocalyptic deal. So I'm going through, I'm kind of removing stuff and fudging up the edges and just kind of making everything. I had to remove the zipper that was over here, and I got to make it all gross, just to make it look like it's actually, post-apocalyptic-y. So I'm in here right now. I'm on a blank layer, and I'm just essentially using the clone tool to come in and just get rid of some of the clean edges. I'm going to clean them up later, so they're too sharp for right now. I'm going to kind of blend them out, but I'm just like messing them up a little bit so that I can come back with the smudge tool or potentially the blur tool. I think I'm going to use, what am I at? Why is the strength at 100%? So cool thing with the smudge tool that you can do is come over here, pick a soft round, use the pressure opacity, and then head over here, going into the shape dynamics and scattering. So I want to scatter these just a little bit on both axes. And instead of pushing the pixels around, you actually start to blend them, if you see. So that's a little bit much. We don't want to do that much. We're going to drop this way, way down. I just want to mimic the softness of the edge that was here before. And so you could use the blur tool if you want to, but I also am going to run a filter over this later. So I'm going to use the blend tool just to kind of push everything together a little bit so that it retains a realistic edge sharpness compared to what's around it. That way it doesn't look completely weird. So hopefully Matt will come and save me here. Okay. How do you sound now?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So what I'm finding, thank you for that, is that this monitor just crushes my laptop. And it's never happened before. It just seems to be something strange. And then Adobe will kick off, and then, something else will, Google Drive, and then Dropbox. So
no.
For those of you that don't necessarily have more powerful computers and, like me, have only DSL internet at home, which is horrible, you can get a program called Trip Mode. And what Trip Mode does is it allows you to selectively shut off any application that's taking up bandwidth. So it's great if you happen to be hotspot or on your phone. You can run Trip Mode and selectively shut things on or off, and it's a lifesaver. Ooh, what are you editing? Oh, is this the stuff you shot with Olga?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to dirty up her boots a little because they're too new. So I've got this one and this one.
Ooh.
And this one, which is my favorite. I love this one.
That's very Tatooine.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Yeah. So I'm messing everything up. But remember I was saying before how I'm really into like, well, look at her hands.
Oh, did you bloody him up?
Yes.
Nice.
I gave her a good like leftover bruise and like scrape on her arm, and her knuckles are just all messed up, and I sunburned her cheeks and everything. So like, yeah.
There's nothing better than bloody knuckles.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. For sure. All right. Do we want to try? Let's try your. I just put that on.
But I apologize again to everybody that kind of came in and was just like, "Oh, I'm going to watch Matt edit," and then just watch him completely fuck everything up. So, all right.
Technology is both wonderful and the devil at the same time.
All right. I have no idea. I think the problem is I have this external drive that I export Lightroom catalogs to, and then I try to pop those up. So I'm going to try this again, but I'm only using my laptop screen now. And this is why I so desperately need a Mac Studio and can power everything. So there's a lot of gear lust in me for that, but a lot of gear lust. So let's do it again. I'm going to try this all again. And you know what? Maybe we'll do Amelia's again. We'll see if I can get this going.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
So see if I can. The interesting thing about sharing Lightroom in any of these applications, right? Whether it's OBS, whether it's StreamYard, is it doesn't allow the side panels. It only shows the main screen. And it's the weirdest thing. So like if I'm streaming in OBS, all right, side note for all the streaming nerds. So if I'm in OBS and you do a window capture, you can pick like the main window, or you can pick like the sidebar or the logo. It's the weirdest thing. I have no idea why they do that. So, okay. I'm not going to watch the screen here. I'm going to kind of go into Lightroom and see what I got. I'll pull up we're moving much faster now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went through, and I'll go through the 1-stars, and maybe you could take a look at some of these and see if you like them. So I had 199 photos, or 100, is it say 109, 159 photos. We'd shot like 1,500 that day. So I'm just going to cycle through them really quick. And if there's something that you see that you really want me to deep dive into, I'll do anything. Because these are really, everything you're seeing here, straight out of the camera. So I have not really touched anything other than converted them back to black and white, which is the Fuji preset, which from the X-T4, it does the Acros film simulation. So, okay, shut up, Matt. Keep going. Let's see. Let me blow these up, get these a little bit bigger. So Amelia's amazing. She is 21 or 22. She went to university in Scotland. I shot her mom a couple months back and then brought Amelia in when she graduated university. So she's a yoga instructor. She's an Apple genius. And she's just an incredible woman. So what we were doing here was she was wearing her mom's 80s vintage tuxedo. Nice. And I have this pearl corset that I've been using a lot lately. And I put iced tea in a little rocks glass to make it look like bourbon.
I wondered if that was whiskey.
Yep. So I was doing this kind of like George Clooney inspired sort of Dean Martin-ish thing. And I really just wanted to get some, these are all natural light, by the way, these are not strobes, up by my garage door. And nice. Look at that. Parker Pfister's calling me. You know what? Bye, Parker. So...
Getting real big for our britches up in here, huh?
So he's out in South Dakota right now in the Badlands.
Oh God, that sounds fantastic. Actually,
I love this photo. It's happy. She was giggling. It was great. It's not technically perfect, as
it's
are
honest.
none of my photos are technically perfect. I'll be the first to say that. But that connection. So I had this. What?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I like this one.
Yeah, no, I had that pearl corset. And so I said, what shoes did you bring with you? And she's like, oh, I just happen to have these pumps with these little pearls on it. How serendipitous. So yeah, I love this set. So these are the garage doors in my studio, and they just let in this gorgeous filtered light.
Yeah.
And I threw this piece of like white shitty fabric. This is the same fabric that was on that girl in Iceland.
Oh, right.
Same, it's my world traveling white nylon fabric.
That
but it's
ripstop,
just the ripstop stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so great. So I'm gonna close this down.
I love all these.
We had a great time. So let's see. Yeah.
Ooh.
I was thinking this one right here.
The last. Yep. Love that.
Yeah. So I was really going for a magazine editorial style thing, and just trying to tell a little bit of a story, seeing what I got. So I'm sitting way on the other side of my studio and just telling her, like, think about this, think about that, stare off in the distance,
Sorry. I'll be right back.
Nicole has attack pugs. Yeah. I'm going to keep looking through these. If anybody has anything you want to say. Yeah, the big natural smiles, Sharon, are amazing. Okay. This one absolutely crushes me because, hey now, come on, face. What are you doing, Lightroom? Freaking out on me, man. Why did these get, okay, there we go. And then I did this purely Johnny Edward inspired. I'm going to throw a mannequin in the back for no reason and wrap it in a toga. No idea why.
Because it makes a good texture.
Whatever.
You're like, if that's it, okay.
Yeah, some of these are nice. Now, also with this shoot, it was my first time. I rented a Canon R5, and I had never used the R5 before. I got the 50 mil f1.2, the RF lens, and as soon as I held that thing, I just started absolutely crushing. So I switched between the R5 and my Fuji. There's the before, there's the after a little bit of skin cleanup. So I don't know if I did that for a before and after on my website, of just some retouching, but really it's relatively subtle. It's just a little bit of blemish removal, a little bit of dodge and burn. And it cleans it up, a little color grading. My patented.
I love that laugh.
That one.
Yeah, what a great smile she has, huh?
She has the most unbelievable smile. My patented chair straddle. My jam. And then, so here's where it got weird, right? So I'm shooting on this big canvas backdrop, and off to the right, camera right, are the garage doors with all that natural light. So one of the big things that Parker, who I so wonderfully just denied, one of the things that he always teaches in workshops is change your angle, change your height, change your perspective, do the things, right? You don't have to change light and do all that. Just move once in a while. So I did, and I went 90 degrees. And now I started shooting with that as a backlight, and I got this wonderful kind of like French noir sort of vibe to it all,
very
right?
Olga.
Is it very Olga?
Very, yes. That nice glow with the short lighting and picking out the features just a little bit. Love it.
That's a hell of a compliment. Thank you. And then I was just like, shadow slider. So I was like, but yeah, I really, really loved the emotion in these and the feeling in these. And I was playing with, different ISO, different shutter speed, trying to brighten things up, get the flavor, the recipe where I wanted it to be. And then I said, start stretching out in this. But what I wanted to do is like, nope, not wide enough, not big enough. So let me go get my 16-35 Canon lens, adapt that, and then start going for it. Now, here's the interesting thing. So I took that 16-35 EF lens, again, side note for the nerds, put it on, and the R5 hadn't been calibrated for the lens or whatever. So it was giving me these awesome, like, natural vignettes, which is great. So I started to back up further and further. And this was like Platon's dumb little brother, right? Is like, I want to do what the big brother does, but can't really do it. So let me just get these low angle shots. But I love these. So then it just became like, how can I work this in this scene? And I love this shot.
Yeah.
And this is that weird natural vignette from a super wide angle lens. Mm-hmm. And there it is.
But
right.
That lens is part of the composition of the image and the storytelling. And it makes it so fun. And
her leg is really that long.
It's just one
5'9" and 5'6" of it is legs.
His leg.
Yeah. So yeah, I was really, really loving this look, this emotion, this kind of connection. And then I started to blow it out a little bit more, see what I could do, brighten it up. Love this. And then all I did was back here, I closed those shades, mm-hmm. which is basically just black theater duvetine fabric that I made these huge 12-foot curtains out of. And
really just eat the light.
Yeah, it does. It just sucks it all up. So I closed those and then threw the 39-inch Rotolux to the side to camera right and just started shooting one light portraits.
That is my favorite modifier.
Yep, mine too. And it was one of the first ones that I bought, and it's by far my favorite. It's a bitch to open and close, but it's an amazing modifier.
It does make you work your muscles out a little bit.
Sure. Absolutely. It doesn't give you flattering angles when you're trying to close that thing. But I love this look. Just love this look. Okay. So let's see. I was trying to get, a little bit more dramatic. And there is a reason why. This one right here. Nope. Yeah, you like that kind of almost half raised, like, go back one more, this one?
Yep. I think it's because she has that really kind of traditional beauty light on her face right there, and her expression is just like, I'm a bad bitch, you don't need to come around in here. Like, she just looks so in control of the situation, like she just don't care. You know
what, and that's kind of her thing, right? She kept saying to me over and over, she's like, you know what I want you to get some big dick energy in here. And I was just like, pardon me, and her mom's standing right behind me, and her mom and I looked at each other. I was just like, I'm on it. Like, what do you want? So I was like, sure, whatever you need. I'm going to turn on a couple of lights here, and perfect. Light me up. All right. So yeah, I was thinking bourbon ad, just straight kind of advertising feel, right? I'm a sucker for 70s and 80s advertising.
When everybody was too cool for school.
Well, it didn't matter. You could smoke a pack of Luckies and drink a bottle of bourbon, and then go for a drive. Why not? And it's doctor recommended.
Yeah.
Oh, the 70s. Okay, so then I switched to color and wanted to play a little bit with her red hair against this backdrop. Trying to see if there's any, just looking in the comments. Oh, Nina's here. Awesome. Hey, Michael. I'm stoked that you guys are here. Oh, I'm really happy. Thank you. I'm flattered that you're here looking at these. Okay. So these are just her natural hair color. I wanted to get some things in color. and see how they looked. That backdrop is an Oliphant that I picked up at the Portrait Masters back in October. And it's just the Venice backdrop. It's phenomenal. It shoots beautifully. And yeah, I thought these made me laugh because she only had little footy socks on. And we were just having such a good time. I just didn't care. And here's where we really starting to work some of the angles. Again, these are all straight out of the camera. I really haven't touched any of these. It's just something to see how I shoot, go through some posing, get my angles, get my compositions, just to give you guys some insight. These are purposely blown up. So if I look here, I'm at f1.2, ISO 125. And I really did want things to be a little bit more blown out, a little bit silkier, if you will. But we were just playing and having a good time.
Oh, but with the color and the texture in the background with those, like with her skin tone, that's just lovely.
Yeah, that Ollie that I was talking to, the Oliphant, is just incredible. It shoots differently. It's got gold flecks in it. It's got all sorts. It's bananas. And then we put her in this tulle dress, kept that corset on her a little bit more. I gave her some dead flowers, got real Townes Van Zandt with her. And I don't do this type of portraiture. This is not my thing. I don't do beauty and glamour and traditional kind of portraits like this. And I'm trying. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around and seeing what I can do. So yeah, I love the color tones in this, just coming straight out of the camera. Let's see what else we got. I was holding in this one a flower up over the lens, and that's kind of what's up here in the upper left corner. Got her looking through these a little bit. Working that 1.2. I love this. Then I wanted to slow the shutter way down and get spooky with it. I was channeling my inner Cat Ford Coates and trying to get some motion. See what I could do with some slow shutter.
Ooh.
Yeah. So kind of love these. Experimenting. I love her socks.
And the fact that she's got black socks on is so incongruous, but it's great. It's like
we were playing, having a great time.
Like she just can't. She's obviously a beautiful girl, and the fact those black socks are on are just like, I'm not taking this too seriously. Like my sauciness is still there.
That's 100%, Amelia. 150%. Okay. So interesting thing that I wanted to show folks is this right here is a big 5-foot octabox to the left that is basically blasting her. I've got a grid on it, I think, in this one, but I'm just basically blasting her. That is the same exact shot with the flash off and just the natural light coming through the garage doors. So those are the two shots. So strobe, natural light. Both beautiful. I
love when that happens.
Both beautiful in their own right. I just, I like to play. I don't shoot very much natural light, and I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. I love this shot.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm a sucker for short lighting. It's just...
Me too. And I never realized that I'm breaking the rules. I just kind of go into it and shoot how I like to shoot.
What's then the rules?
The last outfit of the day, this again was her mom's clothing from the 80s. So leather pants, leather jacket. We worked into nudes that I won't show here. But
a good idea.
There is some implied stuff. But this is just, I wanted straight 70s Rolling Stone cover vibe, Fight Club, that big dick energy that we were talking about, like just something really hard. So I wanted a much edgier light and much more dramatic.
Rock star.
Very rock star. And then like once I kind of got the lighting that I wanted, we just started with the posing. So sat her on a chair, got a fan going. And this is where I live, right? This is the stuff that just when I'm shooting this, there's nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better than that vibe, right? And so she's got this amazing snake tattoo right in the middle of her chest. And I was just like, all right, we're going to bring that energy out, right? If it's sitting right there on your heart, we're going to make that your thing. So just kind of leaning into that 80s, 90s Calvin Klein advertising vibe, right? Getting a little bit sassy, making things a lot more contrasty, and just digging this totally. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate
Just
that.
saying. You thought the pressure was on the man himself.
It's a massive. Now I'll probably screw something up and get us banned. So interesting thing, right? So here's one other shot that I edited, and this is the straight out of camera with the fan going, a little bit of hair, and then I edited out the hair. Now, I did that because I wanted to see what it would look like. There's no necessarily like, oh, I'm going to make it look like this in the retouch version. But, you know, in the forehead, there's a little bit of dodge and burn that I had to do. But that flying hair, like I'm pointing at my screen like you can effing see it. You can't. But that hair, I think I like it more flowing out there. Yeah. So the more I looked at it, I was just like, no, that's too clean. I don't want clean for this. So I switched from all I did. So this is against a white wall, and I'm just firing that strobe against the white wall. Behind her, I have three, I've got a brown, white, and thunder gray backdrop, and I just kind of roll it down on one of those super cheap Amazon rolling systems. Yeah. And so I pulled down the thunder gray right behind her, and we went low key.
Is the shot. I love it.
Love
she looks like
this.
She should be the lead singer of a rock band.
Right. And so this is where we got to, is like, all right, let's get the giggles out. Right. And there's nothing better than that. But the attitude.
Yes. Look at those cheekbones.
She's phenomenal. Right. So got a lot of this kind of like attitude going. We thickened up her eyeliner a little bit more. Made it very Fight Club, yoga abs, everybody. Thank you very much. And I am going to turn up some light, and we'll turn up some light over here so I can stay on screen. Perfect. And then put her in one of my other dresses that I had, which is kind of like this chainmail skirt and corset thing. And we just did a couple in my backdrop corner, which has a bunch of different canvas backdrops layered. And these were the last couple of shots. So that's the very last shot that I took. So is there anything in there that you want to see edited? Any, which one?
It's like 5 back. It's one of that first on black suit. Yes.
That one?
She looks like she's about to drop her first like rock and roll album. I freaking love it.
So let me head into Photoshop and let's see. I am going to remove that. Cool. I think we need a video series of Matt doing an entire shoot. I'd so watch that. You know, Michael, it's interesting you say that. I am trying desperately to get to a point where I can live stream an actual shoot. So I'm going to be doing one soon. My dog behind me is digging into the chair. But yeah, I'm absolutely going to be doing some live streaming with while I shoot. So just a matter of herding all the cats at once and seeing if I can get that done. But I've now got an intern, and so hopefully I can make her help me with magic.
So that all worked out with your intern and everything.
Sure.
Well, I remember when you were first looking at everything and you were trying to decide like how you were going to go about it and what questions to ask, and everything worked out.
Yeah, no, everything did work out. So she's a wonderful, wonderful girl. Her name is Chelsea, and she goes to the boarding school academy that is behind my studio. And they're having their spring fling tomorrow, and I'm going to go up and shoot a photo booth for them. So doing it for free, just to kind of help out the community a little bit, and hopefully, you know, maybe get some clients out of it. Who knows? But I really just want to help the school. So All right, what I'm going to do here is I need to show you guys something because Bobby Thompson, who is in the room, hooked me up with this thing.
Bobby's the
And
best.
Bobby's the best, man. So this is called, if you haven't seen it online, it's called the Tour Box. Have you seen this?
No.
The Tour Box. So the Tour Box, and no, not sponsored, clearly, because I live here. So the Tour Box is just, it's a box with buttons and knobs. That's all it is. So all of these buttons and knobs, and there's discs and circle things. It's like the most massive Nintendo controller ever. You can program this to any application. So what I do is it will be different. The buttons will change if you're using Lightroom or if you're using Photoshop. And what it allows me to do is I don't have to basically touch a keyboard at all. I've got all my keystrokes bound to the buttons on the Tour Box, and it's a nice little thing. And you know, in combination with the Wacom, I don't have to really touch a mouse or keyboard at all. It's just all right there.
Dang.
Wonderful. All right, so let me stop that screen, and I'm going to share my screen in Photoshop. The Photoshop them. All right. So here's where I start to shit on live camera because I've got to edit in front of people. So, oh, Bobby, they've got a full Bluetooth, no cord. Yeah, I saw that. The Bluetooth one looks amazing. And because I was just unplugging and plugging things in, definitely getting the Bluetooth one. It is absolutely worth it. Takes a lot of getting used to, but it's great. Okay, let's see if we can speed edit, shall we? All right, we're going to see. All right. So don't make fun of me. Here's just how I do shit. Like, you don't, everybody does it their own way. Here's how I do mine. And you can see over here on the right, I've got basically all of Pratik's DNA splattered all over me. It is just Pratik exploded all over my Photoshop.
Nice.
So right.
I'm gonna tell him you said that. I think he'll like that.
I think he would, and please tell him. And get Infinite Tools to sponsor me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Infinite
Tools, Infinite Color Panel. We support it all up in here.
So believe it or not, like everything on the right here, I've got Unify and Radiance and Luma and Black and White and Visualizer. I use the Infinite panels constantly. All right, shut up, Matt. Get to it. So one of the things that I really did want to show people is, I don't know how many of y'all do this, but I'm going to show you anyway, is neural filters in Adobe. Have you seen the neural filters?
Yes, so, I have not tried them yet, but I've seen people use them really well, carefully.
Yep. So if they're used carefully, it's great. For me, it's a really quick way to get shots into clients' hands, and then I can go back and do a heavier, more precise retouch. But what I'll do is I'll bring this up, and we're just going to go into filter, neural filters. And it's really pretty incredible how far this thing has come with Adobe doing neural filters and expanding into their Sensei and their AI. It really does a pretty good job. There's a lot of skin plugins out there. I was using one of Christina Shirk's for a while. Her perfect skin plugin. It's a bunch of action sets. I like the Infinite Skin plugin quite a bit. Because of the way that it does its masking. But for the skin smoothing, what I want you to concentrate on is we'll take a look at her cheeks. Now, if I hit the skin smoothing here in neural filters, what it's going to do is analyze it and then apply its fix. There it is. So it just smooths things out. It is not perfect by any stretch. And you can adjust the blur, you can adjust the smoothing on it and all that sort of stuff. I like keeping things at 50-50 and just letting it do its thing. And then in the output, you can output it to a new layer, or I like to do a new layer masked, just so that I have it already masked. I don't have to do anything myself. And that way I know exactly what Adobe's doing. So if I do that, because we're doing a speed retouch, I'm going to use the neural filter, but it gives you a decent view. Now, I'm going to shut that off, and I am going to use infinite skin and show the comparison between the two. Oh, it's asking me for my license key. Are you kidding me? I was using this morning. All right. Maybe we won't do infinite skin today. But I can frequency separate with the best of them. So Seth McCullough has the, I can't remember if it was him or Earth Oliver that had the frequency separation 2.0. And I remember I got this from ProEDU from one of the classes that I had, but I think it was Seth that I got it from. But the FS 2.0, I like, it can be, again, frequency separation is another one of those things that can be wildly overdone. But I like to do it in certain situations just to blend some of those highlights and shadows. And I'll show you, basically, I do like 3 or 4 different types of skin retouching. But before we even get into, let's see, we can go into the, I'm going to get rid of the, I'm going to get rid of this a little bit. And we're just going to do a couple of things, get that sample all layers off. I'm going to do a couple of things here just to clean up some blemishes. And let's see, I'm going to use the tool. Oh, Matt, what are you doing? Oh, boy. Oh, Jesus. Oh, you're screwing it all up.
Stop talking to yourself that way.
What's that?
I said stop talking to yourself that way.
This is how I do it. It's fine. I come to, so just a little bit of spot healing, but you see how it does all that? I hate using the spot healing. I'm like, I don't know what they're called. The one that's bound to R. Yeah. I use the R key. And I hate that it does that. So I get rid of that. No frequency separation for me. No frequency separation for you. I like the Pratik method, just adding another layer and now going in, and I'm going to use a little bit of magic fairy dust and get rid of some of these just by sampling and getting rid of some of the blemishes. We'll blend some tones later. We'll do a little dodging and burning. But I just like to go in here and get rid of the big stuff, kind of blend out some of the bigger things. I think Dennis is probably throwing up at the moment. There's probably faster, easier ways to do this. But this is my method. This is what I do. So I don't spend a ton of time in here. I just do little things that catch my eye, trying not to take away too much, but I zoom in and out. You're never going to be at this poor level, especially when you're looking at it in print or on the 4-inch screen of your iPhone that you're scrolling through at 150 miles an hour. So I don't spend a ton of time here unless I'm doing some real fine art retouching for the client. So I'm just going to get rid of some of the bigger stuff here to just smooth out the texture a little bit. Cool. That's some of the big stuff. Yeah, we'll blend this a little bit more. Okay. Nicole, I'm not looking at the screen. If there's anything in the chat that you see, just let me know. If anybody has questions on what I'm doing or why I'm doing it or how I'm doing it.
Yep, I'll let you know. So Dennis clarifying, saying Earth came up with frequency separation 2.0.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought that was Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then somebody, Facebook user, I'm so sorry. If you want us to know your name, you do have to give StreamYard permission to collect that data from Facebook so it can give us your Facebook username. But this says, this makes me miss taking photos. Retouching is so cathartic.
That's why I do it.
And I agree.
Okay. I'm not going to mess too much with all of the hairs.
Oh, it's Becca.
Let me just get some of these out of here. And I am not even, well, this one over here, this big one right here, just really kind of grinds my gears. So we're going to get rid of that. Wonderful tools. Okay. So now that we're here, let's take a look at what else we got. What else we want to work on? All right, I want to do a little dodging and burning. What else are we looking at? So yeah, and you know, I feel bad because I told Amelia I'd have these in like 3 weeks, and then you know, life happened, and 4.5 months goes by, and I feel like a terrible person. But she's going to get some amazing photos at the end of this. I haven't visited this set in a long time. But you see with that neural filter, it brings back all the stuff that I did before. So I'm going to get rid of that. And now that I've done a little bit of retouching, I am going to merge. Let's merge these 2 layers. Let's do that. And then we'll run that neural filter again. And just clean up the rest because I'm doing a quick and fast, quick and dirty. Man, Friday the 13th, retrograde full moon. Everything from this morning to this afternoon has been crazy. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but it's been a little bit bonkers. Okay, so that just kind of cleaned everything up nice and quickly without using really any of the other skin tools. But there's still some dodging and burning that needs to be done. So I'm going to throw up, Pratik's retouching setup, which is great. I shut off the color fix, I shut off the cleaning, and then I go right into dodge and burn. What I do is I throw that brush on, I come down to about 3, anywhere between 1% and 4% is typically where I'm doing my dodging. And I'm just going to, oh, that's a little bit heavy. I'll take some of this away.
What is your approach? Like, do you have a philosophy for your dodge and burn? What is it that you are trying to do when you're dodging and burning?
So really, really good question, Nicole. I'm glad you asked that. Let me answer that for you. Really, I just look for variation, kind of like I was looking for in texture. I'm looking for a little bit of variation so that, you know, everybody's got a different facial structure, right? So everybody has these micro pores and all these little pock marks and whatnot. It's just the way that skin is, and it's beautiful and it's lovely the way it is. All I try to do is de-emphasize. I'm not trying to get rid of anything. I'm just trying to de-emphasize what the eye goes to, right? So for example, you've got this nose crease that's a little bit heavy in shadow. All I'm doing with a 1% flow is knocking some of that off. That's all I'm doing. So that if I come out here and I now toggle on and off the dodge, you can see that I'm just taking some of those darker areas off of her cheek and chin. It's not a lot. I'm not trying to fix every bit of shadow because I don't want to. I want this to stay natural. I'm not trying to give her a porcelain doll look. I'm just trying to add a couple of things in. There's this spot up on her forehead that's a little bit dark. So I'll take some of that out. And I'm ham-handed with a lot of this stuff. I don't go to this like poor detail and do all this little, like, no, ain't no good time for that. So I just kind of go in and do some of these things. I like to zoom in and out and take a look at things, toggle on and off, see if there's anything that still catches my eye. And there's a little bit down here in the cheek. Everybody's got this one here. And then, you know, if I was getting super nerdy with it and it really bothered me for this shadow on her cheekbone, I would go in and use frequency separation and probably blend that a little bit more. But I'm not trying to do high level beauty retouching here. I'm trying to make it so that the client really likes what they see. So now when it comes to eyes, right, I am going to I am going to take a couple of things out here. Let's see. Just gonna fix. Not fixing. What am I doing? Sample all layers, moron. Okay, so there we go. We're fixing a couple of these little hairs that I still see. Clean up those brows. Put those brows on fleek. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to say.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Do they still say that now? I have no idea.
So. Hello, fellow school children. Would you happen to have any reefers? That's the way I feel most times. Just old. But there's not a lot that I need to do here. And I don't know how you feel, Nicole, about eye veins, capillaries, all that sort of stuff.
I
Oh my
only
God.
mess with them if we're in close. You know, like
Yeah.
if the image is going to be close, then I do. If not, I leave them alone. I also rarely ever brighten sclera because it just ends up looking strange. So unless there's a weird shadow coming across the eye, I generally leave them.
Now, what I do on eyes, I don't do that either. I just try to come in here and I get the iris just a little bit. I'm going to blow this up to like 4%, just a little bit to bring them out. Not heavy. Just catch that highlight a little bit more. And that's looking pretty good. I dig this. All right. So a couple of things down here. I may smooth out some skin. We can get rid of that. See this line down here? Yeah, that's going to get cropped. That's what that's going to happen. I'm not retouching any bottom of any of that. That'll get all retouched. And speaking of which, why don't we crop this down a little bit? I've been really digging 4x5 lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's a calling for medium format or not, but I'm loving 4x5. I don't know why. It just fills everything up nicely. I feel like the 7 and is Becca starting a sacrifice on a Friday?
Making fake candles look more like real candles.
Oh.
Kill me.
Oh, okay.
I can be the sacrifice.
So now with this, I don't know how much more I do. Quite frankly, I don't know how much more I do.
I don't know that there is much. It's so strong already. The light is so lovely. Like you've got really this gorgeous texture of the leather and the highlights are showing up beautifully. And yet there's still a nice amount of separation between her and the background. Like it's really not much else to do.
And this was, if I recall, God, I wish I recall. I think I had a 5-foot octa just over her head and mainly feathered. It was really, really close. There was not a lot of lighting in this. A single light setup. So I'm not trying to do anything crazy. But I think I like that where it is. So I'm going to save that back to Lightroom. And then I'm going to pull up, I think, since I have a couple of minutes left, because I'm going to bug out around 8:30. Got some friends coming over. We're going to drink some sangria and rock on into the weekend. All right, let's see what else we got going on. So if I go back to Lightroom, and we don't need to watch that save. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Just shifting things around, confusing everybody. Oh, I like this one.
Now we get to see what Becca's doing.
Yeah. I'm so confused.
So those candles don't make any wax dripping, so they just don't look like real candles or like they've been used. And so if you drip some wax onto them, then they look, they're more realistic. They look a little realer. Like these boots I just edited.
The candles every now and again go, yes, Daddy. Sorry.
All right, check this out.
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember the clean boots? Oops. The boots that look too new.
Yes.
So now we have at least some that looks a little bit more worn. Hang on. There goes my dog again. So at least now they blend a bit better. I think I can darken them up a little bit too, but at least now they don't look like they're brand spanking new. Were you even able to see that? I couldn't tell. Yeah? No? Yes? No?
Do it again.
See? Oh, whoop. Wrong button. Okay, look at the boots.
Look at you. Wow.
So at least now they don't look so.
Well, I'm getting rid of
So
zits,
new.
and you're just creating all new fabrics and stuff.
It's just as easy as what you did. It's just a different, like, I'm using this brush. Let me make it big. And it's on so it's gonna change shape every time and size every time I use it. So it can make stuff look dirty, you know? Isn't it?
Nice. That's one thing I don't do nearly enough of is make my own brushes and, you know, make texture brushes or things like that.
I totally like downloaded it from somebody. I don't get bothered to do that either. I steal them. Well, I don't steal them. I buy them. But I
Use check out Kyle's brush sets from Adobe.
Yep.
I'm on it.
Got it. And this one's from the Evident concept art pack.
Oh, those ones are good too.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. So what will you did you say, was she a trade shoot? Was that a client shoot? How are you going to get stuff to her? Like, what's the plan now?
So the plan now is, and because, you know, I'm not going to just kind of sit here and edit weirdly for people. So the plan is,
I bet it was super helpful.
the plan is to go through and this is purely just creative stuff. So I told her that I'd give her, because we shot for, God, 6 hours, something to that effect. So yeah, I shot, I think, a couple thousand photos that day. But the goal was just to, you know, shoot every 6 months or so together. So I'll probably give her 10 or 15, maybe even 20 out of that set, depending on which ones I like. If there's a lot of variety, I really like those wide angle ones in front of the garage doors. And because she was so amazing and her family has done so much for me, I'll probably not only give her those, but also get her some level of, you know, 16 by 24, 24 by 36, you know, metal or canvas print from Graphy, and just kind of gift that to her. And I like doing that for anybody that does creative work with me. And I'm just going to bring up another shoot that I did while people are kind of looking and I get to control shit.
Do it. Brag and show off all the awesome stuff.
I'm going to show off. I don't care.
Do it.
So let me share Lightroom again. So I did a shoot the other day. These are all from, so what's today? Friday. So Sunday, I did a shoot where, there we go. So this is Amanda, and she works at a local shop here in town. And she also does hair and makeup. She did some modeling. She used to live out in Seattle, and she moved back here to Maine about a year ago. So just kind of got to know each other and realized that we had this kind of same desire to create imagery, and she wanted to get back into modeling and doing hair and makeup again. So I said, why don't you come into the studio and we'll just shoot. We'll just have an afternoon shoot. No, you know, no real theme, no concept, literally bring one outfit. We're not going to do costume changes or anything like that. And just kind of come in and I'll give you some new personal branding shots, kind of update your portfolio a little bit with just some natural stuff. So these are predominantly straight out of the camera. There is a little bit of skin retouching that I've done. I delivered these to her last night. But for the most part, they are what they are. Very little color grading on them. I'll call out anything that I did to any of the photos. But yeah, it was really just a fun kind of one light setup the whole time.
Oh, those are great.
And
I love that damn backdrop too. It looks so great.
Yeah, so two different lighting scenarios. So you've got this light, which is the 5-foot octa feathered camera left. This is the same thing, but I used the Infinite Looks panel to give me a little bit of a warmer grade and tie together the browns and the oranges, and it just really made it cohesive.
Yeah,
so
I love that. The
cool thing with this, and I'll expand all the stacks, is I'll show you kind of the befores and afters of everything if you're interested in seeing that. So here is the before, and here's the after.
Nice.
So there's the before, there's the after, and really nothing other than a little bit of skin retouching and then a final color grade in Infinite Tools, the visualizer.
Yeah.
So final, original, just doing a little bit on the skin. And then I just sucker for black and white high keys. Just, it is what it is. So that's edited. That's straight out of camera. It's a little bit edited. We were just having fun. Let's see what else we got. I love these kind of natural posts. So this is all natural light. Didn't use any strobes here, just by a window. So here's a good example of a little bit of skin cleaning for a client, right? So let me blow this up a little bit. So there's the before and there's the after. Trying to keep the texture, but just blending away some of the darker areas, some of the blemishes where you can see my mouse blinking, and just blend them away, but not lose the texture, not make it a porcelain skin, because I think that's ridiculous when people do that.
That'll excuse the hell out of me.
So
Just gonna be over here being ridiculous.
I'm just going to throw portraiture on and slide it all the way up. So this shot, right? We both love this shot. Very natural, very calm, very peaceful, right? And I took the shot. We both love it. And then I yelled out for all to hear, fuck, because I cut half her foot off. And I was just really, really upset with the fact that I cut half her foot off. So, and the next one in the series was this shot where I didn't cut her foot off. So I took her foot from this one.
Yep.
And then I put it on this one and gave it a weird border. And now she's got a foot hanging out over this, which I thought kind of looked a little bit
solved.
It looked a little neat. So it just really made me laugh. I spent way too much time on this foot last night, but I finally got it done. That sounded way weirder than I wanted it to.
We're here with you. It's
thanks.
good.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And then she wanted to get into crow pose for like a minute, just kind of hang out.
And just let me do that for a minute, you know.
I was just like, good Lord. Okay. Another grading from Infinite Color Panel, tying the blues and all the greens together. So here's the original, bless you. Here's the original on gray on gray. And then just that little bit of
Makes those
color toning.
pop.
I just love how it ties the blues and greens together. I just love it. So camera. And so two different things here. One, I shot this with the Fuji, graded it with Infinite Visualizer. This was shot with my little Ricoh. Probably can't hear me or see me. Hold on, coming back.
We can hear you.
Okay. The little Ricoh GR2, which is this little thing, tiny, my little point and shoot. This thing is badass. Has some of the best film simulations in it that I've ever seen. The colors out of this thing, bananas. So Parker, go figure, got me on that train.
What is it?
The Ricoh GR2.
Cool.
Very cool little point and shoot camera. That comes with me everywhere. Takes phenomenal pictures, beautiful film simulations, and this is one of them that just came from that. I threw the flash trigger on it and started doing this. So there's the original, there's the retouch, and then there's the original, there's the retouch, just giving it a slight grade. But loving these kind of like editorial style photos. We threw a floppy hat and a scarf on her, and just got something vibey. So really digging those. But I just wanted to show you some of the before and after, since some of them were more dramatic than others. Really, I don't spend a ton of time retouching, clearly. But it's more.
Don't need to, though.
But that's the thing.
You're not trying to fix anything, right? Like, it already looks fantastic.
So I do not touch well, just being a professional, I'm like, I don't touch bodies. I don't retouch bodies or retouch bodies unless specifically asked for something. I don't believe in it. I don't want to change the shape of anybody unless they ask me like, hey, can you do this? Can you tweak this? Sure. Absolutely. I'll do anything that the client asks. So yeah, that's going to be, that's my tour of editing and stuff and showing off. But those were like, I haven't been shooting a ton lately. So being able to at least do a little bit of a creative shoot was a lot of fun. It was really, really nice to do. With no pressure, no outcome expected, just kind of shooting the shoot.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to put us in this view because I want to see Becca making candles. So are you, with what you did with Olga in the desert?
Yeah.
What are you doing with these? I want to know. What are you doing?
So these we just did. I had been wanting to do something like this for a while, and when Olga was here, we knew we wanted to go shoot together. When she came down last year, we did a kind of a two or three, like 2 photographers, 1 model, same location, same costume, just like to see what the differences would be when everything was done. And so we built this costume essentially from scratch in a couple of days. And, we're like on the ground tearing things up and sanding clothes and just, like trying to make things look aged and worn. And Olga's like, well, it would be worn here because of the sweat stains. And then, so we're just like going through and really trying to make these just look like they've been out in the desert for ages. And it wasn't just an excuse to finally take this idea that was in here and do something with it. And to also, we don't get to see, there's unfortunately still a lot of ageism in the popular art that gets created. And for some insane reason, we have valued the youthful beauty over the mature beauty, and also the clean and hyper perfected beauty over the beauty of like a life that you can see in somebody's skin. And so I wanted to, we were a little bit inspired by the many mothers from Mad Max Fury Road when they make it out there. And we were like, yeah, we want that like badassery, but also the wisdom, right? Yeah. And Tara was such an incredible model that there's, and I'll just share this particular one more time because her expression, I think, and like,
I saw this when you showed a couple of images, I guess the pre-production shots, and I saw this one and I was like, that's so cinematic, so phenomenal. The gaze, the wind, everything was just perfect.
And she, like, there's wisdom and warmth and all of this in her face. There's a peace that's there when you look at her, like you believe that she would be out there making a life and that she was happy to do it, so I'm so tickled pink by it. And Dennis saying, love the idea of celebrating more mature women. We need that, like and men as well, which is why I have a lot of men in my portfolio because I love that. And I want to see expression, and I want to see wrinkles, and I want to see mad faces, and I want to see sweat and all of that stuff. So there's just something so beautiful about the whole thing. So I'm really excited. I'm actually going to share these sneak peeks today. I think kind of finished doing what I want. And then hopefully before long. Yeah, I love the sun. We sat her down in the shade, and the sun was coming right over the top of the dune behind her and just hitting the top of her hair. And we were both like, oh, yes, it's okay. She's glowing just enough. And
was it coming up or was it setting?
It was setting.
So did you have to like keep scooting her butt up the dune to keep the light?
I think we got her right in the right place. So we had just a few minutes to really get that light. And the blue, so the desert light is something special because like this one was shot after sunset. So this is in blue hour, and there just is still so much kind of beautiful ambient light that's usable. And Olga was saying that she was jealous of all my shots and I was jealous of all hers because we're looking through them and we're culling and I'm looking at hers and I'm like, they're so much better than mine. Like, oh, it's so sad.
I know.
But yeah, they're just gonna go out into the world and go in portfolios and just be more fodder for like, hey, let's when we're doing these conceptual shoots and we're making this art, let's remember that there's more than gorgeous 20-year-olds. Not that we don't love gorgeous 20-year-olds to photograph and to make art with, of course we do, but
right. No, I think it's stunning, and I'm with Dennis 100%. Like, let's show more of that. And you know, it's not only like there's so many. All right, Matt's going on a rant. So there's so many like 40 over 40 and 50 over 50 campaigns, and that's all well and good. I'm a big supporter of anybody that wants to do that. I think the way that they're being done is very copycat versus everybody putting their own spin on it. There are some that are much more creative and they really go out on a limb. Some are just going the straight glam route. I don't have a problem with any of that. Like, you do you, make the money, bring your clients, and it's fine. I just love seeing you do what you're doing with mature women. Something totally out there, more conceptual stuff, more thought, more storytelling. That, to me, I could stare at all day long rather than seeing what I call the fart dress and hair being blown everywhere.
Okay, the fart dress, explain.
Fart dress. So it's and Becca's laughing because she knows.
That.
She's
fart
like,
dress.
I've told my wedding photographer that's what I want. Is just the dress being thrown up behind the subject without really a lot of context to it. It's just a way to add movement into the dress. I have no issue with it. I've done it a million times, but it's the only way that I can describe it, and people immediately know what I'm talking about, is just throwing that dress up behind, when there are so many other ways to throw fabric and to insinuate movement. It doesn't just always have to be that one behind the person. Does it look good? Yes, absolutely. But I just think it's a little bit overdone in that niche, that genre. That's it.
Sure. That makes sense.
You know,
yeah.
The same way that the golden hour field of wheat thing was overdone, right? That's all.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just be over here doing my thing, you know, in complete anonymity because it's what I do.
Nope. Fair enough. I mean, I'm with you there. I think I love to see people just, because you're right. I mean, the throwing of everything, and it's beautiful. It creates this great texture and this great movement and, you know, all of these things. And of course, we want to celebrate these beautiful women looking gorgeous, because who doesn't want that? And then, but also I love when we can celebrate these beautiful women in their dirtiness as well, which I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it doesn't always have to be the same set. Get into the personality of the person, right? You immediately saw this woman and were like, oh, it's Mother Earth, you know, like, let's get out there in the desert and let's do this stuff. And she's battle hardened and she's fantastic. Love that side of that. Now, you could easily take her and put her into a dress and give her the glamorous shots as well. She's going to translate in both, right? But I just love seeing these new takes on stuff. And I don't know. That's what gets me super excited. And you can tell I've had all the caffeine. Yeah, I'm super stoked to see stuff like that just because it's refreshing, right? Sure. It's something new to my eye.
Yeah.
More visual literacy.
Yeah. And I think it gives us a view of these women that reminds us that, and men as well, that it's multidimensional. You know, it's not where you don't turn 60 and just be a grandma in slacks making cookies. You also get to go be a complete badass, and that's still a completely legitimate part of who you are. So
now I'm going to flip that around too on the men, right? If men, especially the world that I came from, right, are used to being portrayed as badasses all the time and door kickers and, you know, warlords or whatever you want to, you know, call yourself, alpha dogs. It's very rare that you get to see the other side of them, the vulnerable side.
Right.
Right. And that's what I love to do. Like, take some of these guys that have been in special forces for 20 years and they come back, they've got all the stories. You can see them on their eyes, see that stare. but there's also a tenderness and a vulnerability and a wisdom and a learnedness that doesn't often get captured. And that's the stuff that I love, you know? The anonymous warlord. I'm sure I know who you are. I don't know who you are, but
no, me too. And it makes me think of all of those portraits of like Oxford professors. Like I think of Tolkien and Lewis, like portrait in their study, and they're surrounded by books, and they've got a pipe, and there's candles, and they're just very, you know, get my smoking jacket,
right?
Go translate some texts or something. Like it is, yeah. It's great to see all of those sides. So I hope we as a community of conceptual artists, I hope we can celebrate that more and try to make that happen more often. Oh, it's David.
Oh, it's David.
Facebook user.
Warlord of LA.
Yes.
You know, that wouldn't be a bad thing if David took over LA. I would not have a problem with that.
I would pay homage if I ever went to LA and David was the warlord. I would, yeah. I can't stay though. I do have to go eat dinner. But
I know, me too. It's 8:30.
Hanging out with you guys.
You too. I'm out. Becca, it was great talking to you as always.
Thanks for showing us your culling process, Matt, and also your editing process. It was super cool to see, you know, how you do that and how gorgeous your shots are at a camera. Damn, man. Damn.
I'm gonna go put on my dress and throw it behind me.
Go fart in your dress.
Go fart in my dress. All right, guys. Have a great night, y'all. Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Bye, friends.
Bye.